The Galactic Council had ruled the known universe for 10,000 years, their power absolute, their word law. Among them, the most ancient and feared were the Draconians, beings who had evolved from stellar furnaces, their scales forged from collapsed stars, their breath capable of igniting entire atmospheres. They had conquered 1,000 worlds, broken 100 civilizations, and never once had they bowed to anyone. Until they met Marcus Webb. Marcus had spent his entire life in the stables of New Terra Spaceport, caring for the bioengineered horses that wealthy merchants used for recreation. He was nobody, an orphan from the outer colonies, barely educated, with calloused hands and dreams that extended no further than his next meal. When the Draconian fleet descended upon New Terra, demanding humanity's immediate surrender and integration into their empire, Marcus had been mucking out stalls. The Draconians had given humanity one solar cycle to comply. Their message was clear: submit or face extinction. The human governments scrambled, their fleets hopelessly outmatched. The dragons had crushed species far more advanced than humanity. Resistance seemed futile. But something strange happened in those final hours before the deadline. Marcus had been transferred to the Council's diplomatic station to care for the ambassador's personal mounts. It was there, in a chance encounter in a maintenance corridor, that he came face to face with Skarathos the Eternal, the eldest of the Dragon Lords, a being whose existence predated human civilization by millennia. The creature towered above him, 12 feet of rippling muscle and scales that shimmered with barely contained nuclear fire. Its eyes burned with the light of dying suns. It spoke in a voice that could shatter mountains, demanding to know what pathetic creature dared block its path. Marcus, tired from a double shift and unaware of who stood before him, had simply asked the dragon to move aside. He had horses to feed, he explained, and if he was late, they'd go hungry. Surely, he said, even a mighty being such as this could understand the responsibility of caring for those dependent on you. Skarathos had frozen. For the first time in its millennia-long existence, someone had spoken to it not with fear, but with the simple, honest directness of one caretaker to another. The dragon had peered deeper, past Marcus's humble appearance, and saw something that made its ancient heart pause. A soul that understood duty without expectation of reward, compassion without calculation, and responsibility without authority. These were the virtues the Draconians had spent eons seeking in the civilizations they conquered. They had destroyed empires because their rulers were corrupt, enslaved species because they valued power over honor. The Draconians did not seek subjects. They sought equals. They sought beings worthy of standing beside them. In Marcus Webb, a stable boy who cared for animals with the same dedication others reserved for kingdoms, Skarathos found what the dragons had been searching for. The Dragon Lord had dropped to one knee, pressing its massive head to the floor. "Forgive me, Keeper the Small," it had rumbled. "I did not recognize one of the worthy." Within hours, the entire Draconian fleet had stood down. Skarathos presented Marcus to the Council, not as a curiosity, but as proof that humanity possessed the quality the dragons valued above all else: the ability to care for the powerless without seeking power in return. Any species that could produce such individuals, even among its lowest ranks, was not one to be conquered, but to be welcomed. The treaty was signed within days. Humanity joined the Galactic Council not as subjects, but as equals. Marcus returned to his stables, uncomfortable with the attention, insistent that he had done nothing special. But the dragons knew better. They had found what they sought in the last place anyone expected, in the calloused hands of a young man who simply believed that all creatures, great and small, deserved to be cared for. And sometimes that belief was enough to change the galaxy.